This website shows job postings from other sources and it does so automatically. No need to lift a finger. But the point of this video, however, is not about what we built, but how instead. For some background, I'm a full-time Java background developer with love for hobby projects. I'm always building something on the side. If you're like me, then you'll know how draining it can be to start a new project from scratch. There are things that every project needs, and it becomes really boring building them from scratch every time. By the time you finish the boring stuff, you lose the motivation to build the actual thing. This is why lately I've been looking at different options for a backend as a service. They help solve exactly these pain points. There are 3 different services that I tried: Pocketbase, Supabase and Appwrite. Appwrite being the latest one. And this video will be mostly about showcasing how awesome Appwrite is, with some sprinkles of Java web scraping code. Okay, let's now get started with setting up Appwrite. There is a couple of different ways we can do that. They have a cloud offering with a free tier, but you can also host it yourself, and that's exactly what we are going to do. There is a page on the docs that explains what needs to be done. It's as simple as downloading 2 files and running Docker Compose up. After starting up all the containers, we can log into the Appwrite dashboard and create a new project. Then we will add a platform, which in our case will be a web platform, and we will follow the guide to set up the SDK on the client as well. We will store the project ID and the host URL in environment variables. Next, we will create a database and a collection. You can think of collections as tables. Our collection will be modeled based on the interface that we already defined in the frontend code. When this is done, we have to find a page that lets us define permissions. We want to allow read permission to everyone. Then I'll follow the documentation to see how to use the SDK to list documents. But I'll make some abstractions in our code so we don't have to repeatedly add database ID and collection ID in each query. Now you can see me pointing out that the return type of the queries is models.document, which is their base type for a model. It includes the ID, created, updated, and some other properties that every document will have. But we want to have our queries to be typed after our own interfaces. There is a solution for that, as you can see. And just like that, our backend is done. But we have no data inside our job collection. To get the data, we have a simple scraper written in Java that scrapes the data of We Work Remotely website. Let's just quickly inspect the scraper and see what it does. As you can see, it's a very simple application. We start a scheduler with an initial delay of 20 seconds that will run each hour. The task will scrape the data, which will not cover how, and then it will post those data to our database. For this to work, you will need an API key though, and here's how to get one. Let's now see some changes that we made on the frontend so we can automatically update the UI when new jobs are added. Appwrite allows us to subscribe to events, which is what we're doing here. We listen to all events on our documents, and when new documents are created, we are invoking the onNewJob callback, which is then updating our state. Let's see what it all looks like now. Just a note. On the backend we added a thread sleep of 1 second between each scraped job, which means we should see UI update roughly each second. Awesome, right? You might have noticed 2 new jobs are added per second, and that's because the use effect runs twice in strict mode, so we end up with 2 subscriptions. This video, however, is not focused on 100% pure clean code, but instead on showcasing how quickly you can build something tangible with Appwrite. This is my first video on YouTube and I hope you enjoyed it. I plan to post more videos like this or similar in the future. If that sounds interesting, please consider subscribing. Thanks, hope to see you in the next one.